forensic examination, and we also issue medical reports. And then at the counseling section, we provide trauma counseling and psychosocial support, as it was mentioned as one of the major services that the survivor required at the referral center. And we also organize Survivors Forum for our survivors at the end of every month, just to check up on them and to have them together with other people who have experienced the same thing that they have gone through, to encourage them and to let them know that they are not alone in this struggle. And we also refer, because we do not provide our survivors with all SGBV services. So whenever we are done with our own part, we refer to other people. We've worked with 3Ps, we've worked with NHI, we've worked with STCI, we've worked with Ministry for Women and Children Affairs. We've worked with a very prominent Islamic scholar who helps us talk to small boys who are into, who have been sodomized by older men. We've worked with traditional rulers like the presence of Sergingagi and other people in that cohort. We've worked with religious leaders, because SGBV cases should have an all-round case management. We've worked with security agencies like the police, the civil defense, NAPTI, and then when Hisba was when it was functioning, we also worked with them. And we have, through the collaboration and synergy that we have with all those people that I have mentioned, and so many other people that I can't remember their names, we've worked with surveillance team from the various LGs that a Spotlight initiative is being implemented, and with so many other people who I can't mention their names. Why are we working together? Because we cannot do this job alone. I need you, you need me. If I do my part, I will push it to you, you do your part, push it to another person, and that way we can help the survivors. Now, part of the challenges that we are facing as an organization or as a center is the fact that up till now, people are still practicing the culture of silence. And sometimes I don't blame them. Why did I say I don't blame them? Because our society has become decayed. Corruption has eaten deep into the fabric of our society. If I come out as somebody who is suffering from, or who is a survivor of SGB, a lot of times, instead of finding people who will rally around me and help me, I am met up with stigmatization, I'm met up with mockery, I'm met up with delay in executing justice, I'm met up with extortion, and so many things that go around. The same people who are meant to protect me, to guide me, and to lead me to a place where I will get justice are the same people who delay my process, are the same people who would ask me to go and marry the perpetrator. So there are so many problems around what we do. Number one, like I said, is the culture of silence. Number two is that our survivors are beginning to lose hope in the justice system. Now, for example, since the beginning of this year, I don't know if we have somebody from the Ministry of Justice. Since the beginning of this year, do we even have an announcement of how many cases that have been prosecuted? You know, with these numbers, a lot of survivors can say, okay, if these cases are going to court, and if these people are getting justice, perhaps if I report my case, I would also get the same thing. So when cases are being swept under the carpet daily, and nothing is being done about it, it can discourage the survivor from coming out. Then secondly, the parents of these survivors too, sometimes they make matters very difficult for us. And that's because they believe in the gatekeepers of the society. I'm talking about the traditional leaders and the religious leaders. Often time than not, when they come to the center, they tell us that our imam or our pastor or our district head, the Umwa, has told us to just leave the case alone. Abaru Allah, and let's just allow it to go, and let's not fight with our neighbors. We are supposed to live in peace with our neighbors. You understand? And you know how a lot of people are preaching peace, and sometimes they twist your mind. Somebody has molested your child, they tell you not to report because they don't want you to fight with your neighbor. So those kind of things also affect the way we are able to execute our jobs. And then again, sometimes stigma. Our survivors lack family and community support. A lot of us here cannot handle GBV cases properly. Because the first thing, if let's say, if it is not a child, children easily provoke empathy and sympathy from people. If it is an adult that is involved in a rape or sodomy or domestic violence, you are always asked this question, what took you there? Oh, who asked you to go there and all of that? And the weight of judgment on the shoulder of the survivor, because he was talking about the proof of the crime, right? Most of the times the burden of proof is on the survivor. If the survivor cannot prove that she's been raped or she's been abused, then the case is swept under the carpet again. So those are some of the challenges we have. Another challenge is that there's only one referral center in Sokoto State as of now, and is in the metropolis in Sokoto North. I'm sure that there are cases in other places like Isa, for example, maybe Rabah, and which other places far away? Ilela, Sabombruni, maybe Oroyo is so close. It's far too, and so many places. But we thank God that now we have 3Ps, we have Initia, and we have STCI working in those local governments. So it has been seamless because they have their foot soldiers there who refer easily to the center, and they have people who are willing to follow up. But before now, it is very difficult for somebody to, pick up their call from Ilela and call. One of the reasons is that who is going to fund the transportation of that survivor and their family members to town? Even though part of the services that we render at the center is that we support them with transportation fund when they come to the center. So for those of us that are hearing that there's a Nana Khadija center, please, when they are saying they don't have transport, tell them to come to the center. And to the best of our ability, their transport will be refunded. And we'll try to get them help. Sometimes the only help they need is for somebody to tell them what happened, and then they begin to tell you, not ki haƙuri. You know, a lot of times when you see somebody crying, the first thing that comes to mind is to tell the person, but sometimes it's not a good way of healing. If somebody needs to cry, let the person cry. Crying is therapeutic and it will help the person heal better. And that's what we do at the center. We give the survivor an opportunity to express themselves in their own language. And above all, we believe their stories and we try to find them help. So in summary, that is what is being done in Nana Khadija Center, and those are the challenges that we face on a daily basis. Another challenge is that a lot of us don't believe that these things are going on in Sokoto. There are lots of rape that is happening on a daily basis. And now, it's not even your girl child that is in trouble. Even your boy child is in trouble. If I tell you the statistics of number of boys between the ages of 2 and below 18 that have been sodomized, all of you will not be here the same, including a 35-year-old man and a 60-year-old man. So it's not just, rape is not longer a woman's issue anymore. You as a man today, you can be raped, not even just by one person, maybe by 2 or by 3 people. And sometimes these are people that you know. So what is going on as gender-based violence is not longer an issue that women sit on the table and discuss. It is an issue that affects each and every one of us that are seated here. Because if you don't have a child, you have a brother. If you don't have a brother, you have a cousin. If you don't have a cousin, you have a nephew, or you have a friend, or you have a father, right? So all of us in one way or the other, if you look at it critically, 1 or 2 of our family members are affected in a way. And if it is happening around you, it means that it's very close home. For example, look at the Akachi Akwe bandits as Zamfara. Is it not coming to Sokoto now? If a bad thing is going on around your neighborhood, the best thing you can do for yourself is to see how you can secure your own environment. Because it means that danger is very close by. And that's how it is with SGBV. It's no longer far away from us. So we need to learn how to protect ourselves. We need to learn how to protect our children. We've had cases of teachers abusing children in their schools. We've had cases of Islamic teachers that are even invited. This one, They didn't ask them to go to the Islamia, but they came home and they abused the children right in front of in their parents' houses. So a lot of us, we need to be careful. We need to know who comes into our houses, who goes out, where our children go to play, who our children relate with, because a lot of abusers are out there. And what gives somebody the chance to rape? It is opportunity and access. If I have an opportunity to you and access to you, then I can easily rape you. In other cases, if I have more resources, for women that go to seek for jobs, for men that also go to seek for jobs, for women that go to school, for men that go to school, we've had cases of rape, sex for marks. You've heard so many of those cases. I think there's a very popular one that's been going on in Sokoto. So we need to also learn how to educate our children. Sex education should not be a taboo anymore. If you have an opportunity, sit with your children, teach them about the parts of their bodies. I tell you, the kind of things we see at the center is very scary. Our young girls who are teenagers, they know all the abortion drugs, but they don't know their body parts. So you can see that they are learning from the other way, backwards. They don't even know, some of them don't even know that they will get pregnant, but they know the drugs that they are given. Because the men are becoming wise now. When they go and abuse them, they give them drugs. There's one that he gave her almost 10 tablets. He would have killed her if she was not brought early. So these men are not just raping, they are drugging our children, they are drugging our friends, they are drugging. We have men who are drugging their wives just to have anal sex with them. It's happening here, and that's part of intimate partner violence by the mother. The mother is a sister, and he's been drugging this young girl since I think when she was about 8. When she's left with him, he would drug her and sleep with her till she started menstruation. Now she's pregnant for him, and he's her uncle. And he tried to drug her to remove the pregnancy, but it failed, and he almost killed her, so she was rushed to the hospital. So even the people who are staying in your houses, you have to be careful with them. As long as it's a man and a woman staying in the same area, you have to be careful. So a lot is going on. Let me not go on and on. All I'm trying to tell you is that this fight is not just for Ministry for Women Affairs. It is for you in your houses. It is for you in your schools. It is for you in your places of worship or places that you meet with your friends, in weddings, in naming ceremony, everywhere you go to. You have to be vigilant, especially with your children, whether they are young or old. You have to be very vigilant. So that's just my little contribution. And like I said again, we are located at Specialist Hospital, Asibiti Daji, very close to the medical pediatric ward or Dogon Asibiti Nyara. If you go there, you are going to see Dogon Nyara rather. If you go there, you are going to see the sign Nana Khadija Center. And we are there. We are not, unfortunately, we are not there all day. We have a closing time because we are very few, and sometimes we need to rest. The kind of stories we hear are very sad. It takes away your joy. It takes away your strength. So you need to go and recuperate small, then come back the next day and continue. But please, do yourself a favor, take care of your children, take care of your younger ones that are living with you. Feel free with them, do not terrorize them. And before I go, there's one thing I want to tell you. A lot of times we tell our children, do not let anybody to touch you. Go? Do not. Now, a small child, bakwa ganin kaman aka ga yaro, sai a sa mishi hannu a kai ko a ce dan baby ko wannan. Can a child prevent somebody from touching them? Ideally, can a child prevent? A child cannot prevent, so a child cannot protect themselves. So that instruction is too heavy on a child. If you must say that, add it with, amma idan aka taba ki ko aka taba ka, ka dawo ka zo ka gaya mun. Kaga you have a room ko? But when you say do not, and they touch the child, what will the child feel? The child will begin to feel guilty that he has done something wrong. And will never tell you because he knows he has offended you. But when you give a room saying, Amma, if somebody touches you, come back and tell me. I will do something about it. I will believe you. Children will begin to open up. Children come to the center and they tell us that they used to go and tell their parents once. And their parents will say, how can you say kawun ki ne ke taba ki Allah ya kiyaye ka ki sake maganan nan? And the child goes back into their shell.